This computer. All right, guys. So today is going to be today is the 16th of January, and it's 2025. And guys, the last time we were in here, guys, this is building codes. But the last time we were in here, we talked about the city structure. So we went, we talked about the different seats that's held at a city. Okay. All the way from the mayor, building official, fire marshal, all of those guys. We kind of talked about the planner. I'm gonna get back to that in a second. So we got to go heavy in the lab on the planning. Then we start talking about the history of the code. So let me pull this presentation up again. But before I pull the presentation up, let me go ahead and take your screen. You guys, I got a video, man, that didn't get monetized because I think I had some music in it that wasn't that I should have took out. But before I could change everything, it looked like it's going to be a pretty good video because it already got like 100, just what to say, 100 views already, and I posted what about 5 or 6 hours ago, I think 6 7 hours ago, and guys, if you watch that video, watch the whole video before you start making your decision. It's We Are Done, the apathy of trades, entrepreneurship. But watch the whole video before you start getting mad or getting irritated with what I'm saying. What's going on, man? So do that for me if you just so happen to watch that video. But in this class right here, so this is what our class, when you go to Canvas, this is what it looked like. And guys, I have to reiterate this right here every time because I just want to make sure we have a clear understanding of how this right here works. And so you can go right here to BUC 133 and you can hit right here and it pulls this right here up. Okay. I'm getting a little good at this right here, man. Canvas is a whole lot better. I'm telling you, I knew I was going to like Canvas better. I just hate when I had to learn something new. But guys, if you're in this game, just whatever game you're in, it doesn't matter what game you're in. Guys, if you wake up one morning and you sense that you're not going to learn anything new, it's time for you to take a real long dirt nap. You guys understand what I mean when I say dirt nap? Because every day, man, we learn it. I learn something new every day, man, and I enjoy learning. So this right here was a good learning experience here. So you can see, here's my YouTube channel right here. Here's my website. I give you guys a course description right here. And you can navigate on this thing if you hit the start button, and that'll channel you into all the things like the syllabus and things that I require in this particular course. Now, if you want to look at the lectures, you're gonna bump over here to course resources. And if you click on this right here, guys, you should be able to see so here we go right here, guys. So this right here this was the first lecture that we had, which was 1/9/2025. I didn't have any PowerPoint presentation to go with that. This right here is the lecture that we did. What was it? Was it Tuesday? So we were in here Tuesday, and this is the PowerPoint presentation, city structure. And technically, I should be able to hit right here and pull this thing right here up, but I like for it to be on my computer other than on this Canvas platform. So this is how it works. And this is the lecture, guys. You can pop on here. That lecture was about 1 hour and 14 minutes. We pretty much go about an hour in here because the next class started, an hour and 30 minutes. Okay. Are there any questions? I'm gonna pop back here. Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions? And guys, give me a second. I got to figure out a way to get this AI to create my test. Since this right here is a theory-based course, most of we're not out there in the shop for the most part, guys. It's just you guys are learning about the code. You guys are learning what's going on, especially when you go down here and deal with the municipality. So if you guys want to be builders, whether you want to do commercial or residential, you're going to have to deal with the city. And I'm going to tell you guys just like this right here. They can slow your project down because now you got to have the inspectors. There's going to be certain things. Guys, I would suggest that before you build anywhere, Guys, and I know I think I got some people that's in the Tuscaloosa area. Guys, especially in Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa has some of the most stringent building officials in that area. Um, I think probably the next is going to be Shelby County, where I'm building that right now. They pretty dement. Shelby County, Hoover. And here's the thing, guys. Don't look at it as those guys are picking at you. They're just really savvy. They're really savvy on their game. They understand this stuff. That's why you got to understand it better than them. You got to study this stuff, man. This ain't obsession is a necessity. You got to be obsessed with your craft. And I'm not saying everybody craft might not be building, but you got to be obsessed. Whatever craft that you were put here to do, you need to be obsessed with it, man. Ain't no use to just coming in and just kind of being blamed or average or I'm just gonna make enough money to eat. Nah, man. Dogs and cats can eat. They can go find something on the street and eat. Man, we got to be living. We got to be living great. I was talking to one of my guys. I was talking to Clay yesterday, man. I said, look, man, we should be millionaires, multimillionaires. And there's no reason why we can't be. So you guys, we gotta elevate our mindset as high as it'll let us go, man. There's somebody out there, and the only thing that drives me is when I see people out here that are actually doing it. And you know what I say? And this may not be the right thing to say, but I'm gonna tell you guys what I say. I look at those people and I say, they ain't no better than me. I was born on this planet just like them. Why do they own this right here and I don't own this right here? They ain't no better than I am. We was all born on this planet the same, yet you got a yacht. I should have a yacht too. So I'm going to strive until I get it. And you know something? It may not be me to be the one to actually see that yacht. Might be one of my kids. But I'll be doggone. I'm going to put whatever I can put inside of them that's coming from me to get it in them so they can do it. And I think that's what parents are supposed to do. We're supposed to make each generation easier. I heard some of my friends, man, we sitting down having an intellectual discussion. Man, I want to make my kids have it hard. No, you shouldn't make your kids have it hard. Your kids should be able to take torch from you and keep this thing running. We ain't got time to be knocked backwards 1 or 2 steps. And these people out here, man, I see them, man. I live around them. These guys are getting ahead. They're getting ahead of the game, and they're competitive too. They even, man, guys, I got to go full screen on this right here. I done went on my rant, man. Y'all done got me started. How do I do my guys? They even have it now, guys. If you go to some of these communities like where I'm at, Oak Mountain, Mount Brook, you guys know those are some of the highest area code. Some places over in Trustville, the Vestavia. These guys are making sure that their kids are ahead of the game. There's nothing wrong with that. In my community, we sitting up saying, well, you got to have it hard. You got to have it just like I had it. And we laugh about it. Yeah, we had it hard. No, your kids should have it easier. These guys over there, man, they're having it, man. I'm going to tell you what they're doing, guys. It's at the point to where they're actually holding their kids back a grade. Why is that important? I'm glad you asked. They're holding their sons back a grade so that when their son's number one, he's more mature than you are. Y'all in the same grade, and he's taller, he's bigger than you are. So when he plays sports, he's going to be the one that stands out more. This is what they're doing over there. They pumping their kids with hormones. They feeding them. They getting them the best trainers. I see it because I got my son doing the same thing. Now I don't give him no hormones, but I make sure that he can compete. And the only person that's going to deny him of anything he ever get, if you living in my household, is yourself. You can't go back and say, well, my dad didn't provide this right here for me. That's why I couldn't go to the next level. Now I can say that because I knew my parents didn't have. when I was growing up, I used to hear my mom and dad fussing about bills and how they couldn't pay bills and why this right here cost so much. So I never went to my parents and said, "Hey, Dad, can y'all get me these pants? Or can y'all get what the other kids had, some Jordache jeans, or can you get me some of those Chuck Taylor tennis shoes?" I didn't even ask my parents because I knew we couldn't afford it. I was very athletic. I was a phenomenal when it come down to athleticism. I could beat a lot of guys just athletically. But I never had the money, and I knew my parents didn't have the money to take me to the next level. So I made a pact with myself that my kids not going to have to ever go through that. That's why I work hard. And that's why you guys should work hard. And I think that our parents, man, I don't want nothing from my kids at the end of the day. If my son mess around and hit a big time, what you call it, he plays baseball. If he mess around and get a big time contract making millions and millions of dollars a year, I don't want no Mercedes. I don't want you to buy me none. You ain't got to buy your mama no house. That's your money. I can buy my wife a house. You know, uh, that's my little rant, guys. But let me go find my little lesson here, guys. All right, guys. This is what happens when I go on a rant, man. I kind of go heavy. All right, so this right here, let me see, can I find it? Let me find it before I go full screen. Let me see. Take my glass off. My eyes getting bad, man. I tell you what, when you get older, your eyes start taking. I should have streamed this whole thing on YouTube while I was streaming on Zoom. Next class, I'm gonna Zoom it. I'm gonna stream YouTube at the same time. See what we can. I just want to see how it works. All right, so let me see. Education. There we go. Lawson. What's going on, big dog? How you doing? So courses. That was probably the peanut I was eating on, man, and I dropped it. Let me see. City structure. God, there we go, right there. There we go. Beautiful. All right. And I'm just going to kind of reiterate one or two of these items, guys, maybe. All right, so here we go. So I can go ahead and share the screen right here. Share. My mama told me I was going to be a preacher when I got older. I sound like a preacher. I could be a preacher. And then we were walking down the street. Duh. All right. Not that type of preacher. I'm finna skip all this, guys. I just do want to say that y'all do know that the first building code. You remember it was the code of Hammurabi. You guys remember that the way that code was written, if you mess around and you built a structure and somebody got killed in that structure, if their son got killed, you got to give up your son. Your son got to die. Or if somebody got killed, then I gotta die. That was the first code. So that forced those builders to get it right. And we talked about cuneiform, guys. This is the Sumerians, guys. The Sumerians had the guys. If you go back, and you guys don't take my word for it, guys. I want you guys to go back and do some research on the ancient Sumerians. That civilization existed. And I know this ain't no history class, guys, but I used to be an avid reader. I used to love to read. So this is kind of how I got involved in reading this right here, and it was very intriguing to me. But the Sumerians, their civilization pretty much started with the Sumerians. They was about 200,000 years ago. And this is the writing that they did. It's called cuneiform. And it was made. They dried these tablets and stuff. But if you go to their text, and they have a text called the Enuma Elish, and the Enuma Elish that's the print that the Old Testament of the Bible was derived from the Enuma Elish. They even talk about the Gilgamesh epics in the Enuma Elish. They talk about a guy by the name of Atrahasis, and you guys know him as Noah. Yeah, they talk about the great floods. They call it the great deluge. So this right here, cuneiform, it predates probably any code that we ever had. But that was the first code. They had the first code. They had the first law If you go through the Sumerian text, everything that we have down at the city, the planners, the mayors and all that kind of stuff, the city structure that we went over, they had it 200,000 years ago. Now, let's put this in perspective, guys. And I don't know how religious you guys, I don't want, now guys, if you're religious, I'm just giving you the information I read, man. Don't get mad at me because this don't line up with your religious ideology. But if you predate religion back, the Bible is supposed to be what, 6,000 years ago? I'm sitting there telling you these guys, they're these texts, and they have remnants and carbon dating that was 200,000 years. Make it make sense. All right, so this is what they have. So then we kind of lost things. We entered into what they call so we had all this information back then, and then we entered into the dark ages when man lost everything. Then we started to reinvent ourselves again. And then things like this right here happen over here, the Great Chicago Fire. Somebody's cow kicked over a lamp and the whole Chicago caught on fire. A lot of people died, a lot of people because they had no way of evacuating that fire. So when they rebuilt Chicago, they came out with a bunch of codes. This is where the codes came in. Anybody, anywhere else they set on fire? What's the next? Hold up, guys. When is what's they call it? Black History Month.
February.
Oh, it's February. Okay, that's a short month. Let me cut it. I'm gonna cut it out, man. You guys can chime in if y'all want to. All right, so they redid things after that right there flood. All right, so then we went into the guys. We went into the early codes. Let me see. The early codes is it started with the International Code of Building Officials. These guys right here, they started with the early codes. And in the 1940s, they made the code prescriptive. When I say prescriptive, that means that if you look at this right here, I put this on here on the side of it because, guys, if you look at the code right now, the International Residential Code right now, there's nothing to guess about. Code book right here, you guys don't have to guess about. And this is why it's so thick. There's nothing you guys need to guess about. As a matter of fact, when you get your home, hey man, congratulations, man. You applying for your builder's license yet? Go ahead and do it, man. Don't waste your time. You still got 2 years.
2 years to do it?
Yeah.
I'm doing it tomorrow.
Okay, I should have just told you 1 year. Yeah, but you got 2 years. I should have told you 1 year. Make sure you get it done. But call Darlene down at the home builder. But guys, so when you guys go take the test, hopefully some of you guys, you guys go ahead and take the test right now if you can. But guys, when you take the test, what they're going to make sure you can do, they want to make sure you know how to navigate through this thing. They don't care nothing about you memorize, because you ain't finna memorize this book. That's like memorizing a tax code. Can't do it. But what they're going to make sure you do, and what I'm going to teach you to do in this class, I'm going to teach you how to maneuver through this book, how to find what you need to look for. So when we're talking about some building stuff and some things going on, we need to know how to find it. And we don't need to be sitting here all day trying to find it. Does that make sense? That's what we're going to talk about. Man, well, you know good, man.
I mean,
it's good to see you
yesterday, man.
Well, I bet you you about to catch on fire. You wanted to add something in on that one, did you?
California winds, I want to be fired.
Well, you saw that. If you saw that last video I put up, you'd really get mad. We talk about it. All right, guys. So that's what we talked about. So that's what prescriptive mean, man. The code, it tells you exactly what to do and how to do it. Guys, you don't have to guess about nothing when you pick this code book up. And there, guys, you know what? One thing, and I had to get on my guy. I had to get on Clay. He hadn't met Clay yet, had he? Him and Mac became, I think, they best friends now, man. They like two peas in a pod. He protects my son from me. So I be trying to go in on him. Don't do him like that. But one thing I don't like to hear is when someone say, well, I think it's this way. No, man. You got to know. The name of the game is you got to know. This ain't no guessing game, guys. I'm telling you, man, you don't want to guess. So that's what prescriptive means. You ain't got to guess. And these were the codes. Now, the reason this right here is broke up into different sections like this right here, you got one in the south, you got one in the north, and one in the west. Guys, we don't build houses in Alabama like you build in LA. Two different climates. The house had to deal with two different things. We don't build houses down here like you build up north. It don't snow here 6 months out of the year. We don't have that problem. Does that make sense? So this is why they had to come up with these different codes right here, guys. Then we went into they became specific in the 1930s. I think they started getting a little bit more specific. Then we started going to a single national code was imposed and replacing 3 regional codes. So this is what ICC came in, the International Code Council. And guys, their office is right off Montclair. I used to run into problems trying to interpret the code when I was the building official, and I used to have to call those guys over at Montclair. Hey man, I'm trying to interpret this code right here, and this right here don't make no sense. Why do we have to do this right here? Now, let me just say this right here. Get the plug. Yeah, I mean, if you can get right here, man, let's see if I can get you. I get you a little piece right there. There you go. If you can make that thing, you can make it work. Yeah. What was I talking about?
I think.
Yeah. They used to help me out with the code, guys. They would help me interpret. Oh, what I was gonna say, guys, is that what's more important. Now, mind you, this big code book that we're sitting here dealing with, that we're gonna talk about today, I should be able to finish this up today. This code book, this code book right here is a safety manual. The only thing, well, not the only thing, but what this code book is doing, and this is just one of them. So you got the International Building Code. We talked about a few of them yesterday. That you got the fire code, you got the building code, you got the residential code, you have the zoning code. All of these codes all put together is just a safety manual. It keeps us safe in our house. And I always use the egress thing. It makes sure that you got a place of egress. So in the event that this house catch on fire or this place catch on fire, we have a place to escape. That's what this is. That's what this code is about, man. Now, sometimes, every once in a while, man, maybe 5%, guys, because I used to have this happen in Alabaster. People used to come to me and they had a problem, man, and the mayor told them to come see me and stuff like that. Every once in a while, there is what they call a gray area, but that's very far and few between. And guys, and when you have a gray area in the code, if there's a place where it's kind of gray and it's kind of hazy, we ain't quite, there is an exception which allows me to do an exception to help these people out. They give you 2 or 3 exceptions. But now, if you seem to, if you are sitting here and you're in my position as the building official, and you have to make a decision, somebody come to you and say, hey, can I do this right here in my house? And I have to make a decision, and I'm looking at the code and there's a gray area. What you want to do as a building official is focus on the intent of the code. And when I say the intent, what is it that this code is trying to do? What is it trying to save them from? So say, for instance, somebody come in and they say, well, hey, man, why do I have to put, so guys, there's a code that says that if you got a garage in the house and you got the living area in the house, you got 2 different areas, you got the garage here and the living area right here, right? Well, between the 2, you have to have a 1-hour fire rating. So that means if these cars in the garage catch on fire, it takes this fire 1 hour to burn to get to the other side where you living at, right? And what is that code trying to do? Keep you from getting burned up, right? Well, if somebody come to me and say, hey, look, instead of me putting drywall as the, because drywall takes fire an hour to burn through 5/8 drywall, right? So if somebody came to me and said, hey, instead of me putting drywall here, can I put a sprinkler system in my garage? And that sprinkler system will suppress that fire and slow it down. Don't it serve the same thing? Well, that's the intent of that, which is more important, which is why I would say, something that makes sense. Let's do it. It just so happens that's one of the exceptions. That's an exception that it would allow you to do that. You can use a sprinkler system. You can use you can use a 5/8 sheetrock. So the intent is more important. Just like guys, I'm finna hit a trigger. I'm finna hit some triggers right now. Watch that. I'm finna trigger somebody. Just like when Lyndon Baines Johnson was the president, and he went from door to door, and he started giving money to African Americans. That was the intent was great. We called that the welfare state. You guys ever heard of that? Y'all didn't know that? He went in 1967 or whatever it was. He went from door to door because Lyndon Baines Johnson, he didn't like black people too much, right? He really didn't. I'm gonna tell you that he really didn't. But then when he was about to die, he was really, really sick, and he was on his he was kind of on his way out of here. He's like, something, man, I'm gonna really try to help them. And so what he did was he said, I'm gonna send my guys from door to door, and I'm going to give them benefits from the government to help them, like food vouchers, food stamps, housing vouchers, like kind of what they're doing now. Now, think about what's going on, man. The intent of what he was doing was actually good when he was trying to help. So the intent was awesome. But the effects were bad. Because one of the stipulations in that welfare state, guys, was that you couldn't have a man in the household. So the government would give the women the money, but one thing they would do is they weren't allowed to have men in that household, and they would come around and check. I remember them times, but it didn't affect us. But I remember some of my friends, they would come around and check, and if they saw a remnant of a man, the government would cut the funding off for. And so in masses in the African-American communities, Black women kicked their men out. And this is when you start hearing strong and independent, and we don't need a man. That's why you don't hear other races or other cultures saying that. They don't really say that. You only hear that in the African-American community. And so when they took away that dad, if you guys go look at my video that I just did, that's a result of all these fathers being kicked out of the household because our boys are being raised up without fathers. So they don't really learn how to be a man because no woman can teach you how to be a man. Just can't do it. Can't teach you to be something that you're not. I can't teach you to be. I can't teach my daughter to be a woman. I have to trust my wife. But the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is the intent that's more important. Does that make sense? So it was the intent. That was a good intent. So when you guys are looking at the code, man, it's the intent of the code is what you guys want to focus on. All right? Let's see what I got. What else I got here? All right, and these are the codes that we were talking about the other day. So I had a bunch of them, man. Let me see. There we go. We talked about all those. And we talked about the I codes, the green code, zoning code, performance code. So we went over kind of all these guys right here. We even talked about the changing of the codes, how you change them. Fire codes, FEMA. What else we got? All right. I may be repeating myself on this right here, guys. All right. The purpose of the module of this module is to teach the students how the residential building code book is organized. So let's look at the organization of this right here, of this building code. All right. All right. Oh man, I hate when I do. And guys, here's something else. So when you guys download this right here, this PowerPoint presentation off of Canvas, you can actually, I got these right here highlighted, so you can actually hit right here and it pulls that up. It pulls that code up. But now I wouldn't really, I need to change it, guys. I wouldn't really focus on the 2015 code anymore because that's not the one I want you guys. Is it 2021? 2021. So this right here, the one I got, guys, don't go buy this book. Go buy the 2021. So this is the wrong book. I think I put it on the on y'all syllabus. Erase that. Before you go buy the International Residential Code or the International Building Code, call me first. But it's the 2021. The codes, these code cycles come out every 3 years. Every 3 years. So right now they got one for 2024. They actually have a 2024. Let's just see what that looks like. So we have a let's see if we got that. Let me see. IRC 2024. Let me see if they got that out yet. Yeah, I think they got it out. They may have it up. I hadn't. Yeah, it's out. Don't look like, well, it's out, guys. That code cycle is actually out. There it is right there. Online for free. Now, there may not be a lot of changes, you know, but it's out there. Let me see. Let me set that right there. Yeah, it's out here. All right. 2024. The next one is going to be what? 27. 1, 2, 3. So I had to count on my fingers and stuff. 1, 2, 3. Then 2030. Golly, man, by the time we had a 2030 code, by the time the 2030 code kick in, man, I might have about 15 more summers left. I keep saying that, don't I, man? Like to think about this, guys. All right. Let's look at this right here. I don't want to do all this right here. Layout. All right. So this is how the code is laid out, man. Let me see. I should have. All right. Let's do it like this right here. All right. So chapter 1. So guys, when you pull up chapter 1, it's just the administrative side, guys. It tells you what the building official should be doing. Talks about the building official. This is how the building department is set up. Why are we doing this right here? Let me pick one of these suckers out. Let me see. Y'all want to do the 2021 or 2024? I think, well, let's do the 2021 since that's the one y'all gonna take the test with. There we go. All right, so chapter 1 is gonna be the scope of work, scope and administration. So it goes over the building department and stuff like that. But let's kind of see how all this stuff right here play out. All right, and I'm just gonna kind of give you guys a general note. So right here, let me see. It tells you the purpose of this chapter right here. The purpose of this code is to establish the minimum requirements to provide a reasonable level of safety, health, and general welfare through structural strength, means of egress. We keep talking about that means of egress, right? Stability, sanitation, and cleanliness, light and ventilation, energy conservation. So that's been a big thing now, guys. I'm gonna tell y'all why later on. And for providing a reasonable level of life safety and property protection from the hazard of fire, explosion, or dangerous condition, and to provide a reasonable level of safety to firefighters. So, guys, another reason that you want this building to be very structural is because if this building catches on fire and the first responders like the fire department come in here to try to save somebody, well, it don't just collapse on them. Does that make sense? It at least holds up long enough so those first responders can come in and see, okay, everything's clear and get back out of here. But if the structure is not there and it catches on fire, well, you put that first responder life in jeopardy too. It ain't just about the people that's living in there. It's everybody that live in that municipality. So it's the help firefighter and emergency responders doing emergency operations, okay? So this is what we talk about. And then it goes over, so you got the gas, mechanical, got all these different ones. Now, here we go. This is where there is conflict between a general requirement and a specific requirement. The specific requirement shall be applicable. Where in any specific case, different sections of this code specify different materials, methods of construction, or other requirements, the most restrictive shall govern. And I want you guys to always remember that. Whatever we talk about in here, if there's two different codes or two different things that we're dealing with, the one that you're going to go with is the most restrictive, the hardest. You guys, man, the toughest one. All right. Let me see. Conflicts. Where conflicts occur between provisions of this code and reference codes and standards, the provisions of this code shall apply. So this right here, this whole thing, let me see, code compliance, something else this right here. All right, here we go, right here. There we go. This right here, and guys, remember, we're still in chapter 1, okay? It's the administrative part. Talks about duties and powers of building officials. Yeah, that's building official. The building official is hereby authorized and directed to enforce the provisions of this code. The building official shall have the authority to render interpretation, so he's going to interpret that code too, of this code, and to adopt. They can also adopt policies, right, and procedures in order to clarify the application of its provisions. Such interpretation policies and procedures shall be in compliance with the, listen now, here we go, with the intent and purpose of the code. So I just got finished saying that. You remember that? The intent. Such policies and procedures shall not have the effect of waiving requirements specifically provided for in this code. So as a building official, I can't, hey man, I got a buddy or something like that coming there. Hey man, don't worry about it. We're gonna waive that right there. No, I can't do that as a building official. You got to get it right. I don't give a dog on who it is. It's kind of why I got fired in Alabaster. I would not waive that code. I wouldn't waive it, man. I had this right here to hold me up too, man. So it was at the point that they couldn't, guys, they couldn't even, because I was sticking to this code so heavy, they couldn't even fire me the way they fired anybody else, man. They couldn't say, well, you didn't do what we tell you to do. They had to merge. They had to go through and merge the fire department and the building department together. And then they deemed the fire marshal as the building official. And then they fired me through a reduction in forces. That's how they was able to get me. And that took a lot of thought. And let me tell you something else too, guys. You guys got jobs. Who got a job? You got a job. Don't ever think you got job security. Oh, don't ever think that. They want to get rid of you, they get you. And guys, you know something? Keep your job, but have your job, man. And you guys need to always have side hustles. Everybody needs a side hustle. Get your side hustles. Get these side hustles, man. Make some side money. And guys, it's getting crazy, man. And remember, I'm the first one to tell you guys, in about 2 or 3 more years, man, it's gonna be tough. You got to get your money right. Don't box yourself into color and all that kind of stuff. Get your money right, man. I think in the next 2, 3, not 2, 3, but in the next 10, 15 years, man, it's going to cost about $2 million just to live. All right, let me see. All right, so it also, here we go, applications and permits. The building official shall receive applications. So we're going to take the applications in. So when you come into a building department, you submit your building application, right? And the building official can determine what kind of information that you need to give them. Yeah, he can do that. And I mean, you just can't come in there and write down the plans on a piece of toilet tissue and hand it to them. No, this is what we need. They can review construction documents and issue permits for the erection and alteration, demolition, and moving of buildings and structures, inspect the premises for which such permits have been issued. So they're gonna come around, and that's why the building official hires inspectors. So my job, I hired inspectors. And they go out and they do the inspection. Now, every once in a while, them jokers they didn't come to work, and I had to go inspect for them. But that's what he does. He issued a permit, and he say, hey, this is how it needs to be built, and I'm gonna send the inspectors out to make sure you guys are doing it. That's how it works. Questions?
Did you ever go out with just covering a grid without a particular job to work through? Just like the inspectors just ride the community and look for how on the outside for code violation.
That's called code enforcement.
Yes,
So now when I was in Alabaster, I had a police officer. So now let me back. That's a good question. So the building official, I had a badge just like police officer. They gave me a badge, guys, I would not wear that badge unless I had a problem. If I knew I was gonna go somewhere, man, where I think there's going to be a problem. Bad. I clip it on my belt. I go in there and then they just, they like, okay, right. But the building official has a badge because the building official is part of code enforcement. He's a code enforcer. But I also, in my department, we had a police. He was deemed a police officer too. His name was Box. Box was my code enforcer. He and things like what you're talking about, like he would just ride around and find code violations. So that's something else the building department did as well in Alabaster. Now, different municipalities break it up differently. Birmingham may have somebody totally different that does it. You see what I'm saying? But you remember when we was looking at that city ordinance, that big book? Yes, the other day we saw that big old book, and I said to guys, this is city ordinance. All the laws in the city is right there in that ordinance, right? Well, the code enforcement guy is the guy that he rides around. He's riding around in a truck, and he was trying to find people that were breaking some of those violations in that code of ordinance, in the municipality's code of ordinance. That was his job. And it could be something as simple as, he didn't just go just start no stuff, man. Because guys, when he find it, then me and him had to do a lot of paperwork. So we didn't go looking for stuff, but sometimes you saw things. Like somebody may have some chickens in the city. They may have chickens walking around and stuff, and they call us. And Box will go out there, see chickens. Well, according to the code of ordinance, you can't have farm animals in certain areas of the city. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that means you had to get a call in order to initiate enforcement. You didn't put anyone on.
Well, no, hold on. Now, if he was just riding by and he just so happened to see a chicken in the yard, then yes, he's going to initiate.
But you don't send him out on routinely.
Sometime I made no, he rides around and look for violations too now. And but we really didn't like looking for stuff, man, because we already had enough work, but if we saw things, we couldn't turn a blind eye to it and say, we're not going to deal with it. You had to deal with it. I had a guy that had raptors. Had to deal with that. Y'all know what a raptor is, don't you? Like hawks and falcons and stuff like that. You're not supposed to have them. It was always, man, had goats and stuff in the yard. We had people that parked their car and they don't park the car, they parked it on the grass instead of the driveway. Oh yeah. All kind of stuff, man. People build a structure in the back of their house, the neighbor called on them, man, and they put it in the wrong spot. So they got to come get a permit. These are the things that we dealt with. That's code enforcement side. We're not even talking about building. So most building departments gonna handle all of that stuff. Now Birmingham is a little different. Now, if you go to Birmingham, the permit, I don't know why they do this, man. The permit office is separate from the inspection office. They're two different. They actually exist alone, separate, and they're not talking to one another. See, once you pull that permit, it enacts the inspection to go out there and start doing inspections. But these guys, the inspectors, don't ever talk back to these guys anymore. After they pull that permit, that's it. They never talk again. And that's not the way it should be. Because this is how you can have houses being built in the wrong spot. And ain't nothing you can do once they build it. You can have a house that's, like, say, for instance, if I was in Hoover, right? I don't want y'all to think I just praise Hoover and stuff like that. I know Marty, the building official over there. He's a good friend of mine. And he runs a tight ship. He runs it the way I think it should be ran, because me and him actually would talk about making, because I was working on trying to make Alabaster. As a matter of fact, I applied for his job too back during the time. But we were trying to make sure that we was in sync. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't want people to say, well, they do this in Hoover. Why do you do this in Alabama? You see what I'm saying? Make it all consistent. But the problem is, let's just say, for instance, I had a structure that's being built, right? And the foundation was done. Well, y'all know there are setbacks that you have. There's a certain amount of distance that your house can sit on that lot. Sideways, you got side setback. Well, if you violate one of those setbacks, In Hoover, they're gonna find out about it because before the inspectors will come back out there, once you get your foundation in, before the inspectors come back out there, they're gonna make you do a foundation survey with a surveyor. It's gonna make sure that foundation is in the right place. And then you're gonna sit it in, they gotta prove it. See, not the departments are talking. You see what I'm saying? See, Birmingham don't do that. And since they don't do that, what if somebody put that thing in the wrong place and they keep building that house? Now you got a whole structure up there, and now you got yourself a mess. So now you can go to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. We talked about that the other day, but that's the whole nother ball game. But that was a good question, man. So that's what code that's code code enforcement.
It's just a difference between a city that's going and a city that's declining. You got old codes based in Birmingham built 200 years. Who was built back in 1967. So when the enforcement comes, when you have those problems that occur after the building is done.
Well, check this out.
So it looks different.
Do you know all the guys over at Hoover right now?
They
came from Birmingham. So Birmingham should have kept those guys. They should have kept them. They should have, make them happy. Keep them. We have some good people here, man. Like here at this university, man, and good IT people. You got to pay them. You got to find where you pay them. I mean, yeah, you'll be broke a little bit, man, but you get the top tier mindsets there. I even told them, I went over there, I was joking when I said, hey, man, y'all should hire me, man, to consult you guys. I can help you guys straighten this whole thing out. They ain't gonna like it. But anyway. All right. Also, we talk about notice and order, and it talks about inspections. This is what the building official is going to do. He's going to make sure everything gets inspected. We talk about what is it? Identification, right of entry. So building official got a right to walk up in your house too. Yes, they go up in your house. We'll give you a notice, but and I had to do that 1 or 2 times, guys. I put my badge on when I walked up in there. I'm the sheriff in town. What you got to say?
But you have to have a violation or something that you will be aware of.
Yes. That has to be something that I know, like in my case, there was a house that we know was unsafe.
You knew because somebody told.
Well, it was, they let us know, but yeah, it was no, it wasn't a house that was unsafe. No, it was a house that was unsafe, but there was a wiring issue in the back of it.
And you can see it from the outside.
Yeah, and you can see it from the outside, but I needed to go on the inside. But I let them know, hey, I'm coming over because we need to address this right here. And they were fine about it. But that was cool, man. I'm the sheriff. I'm the sheriff of this here town, buddy.
You're a power tripper.
Huh?
You're a power tripper.
No, I don't do nothing like that, man. I don't try to flex like that, man. My wife think I got the little man syndrome. She think I try to be like the big guy, I did have a little man. I used to be the littlest guy in my class, man. So I did have a little man syndrome for a minute. But you do have a right to entry. So this is the power. So the first chapter talks about scope and administration and the power of that building official, guys. So we got to keep that in mind. Liabilities, legal defense. Let me see what else that I think that's, here we go, permits. It tells you all the things that we need to know about permits. It tells you how long we're going to keep a permit, okay? This is all in the building code. And this is what a lot of people don't read right here. And I guarantee you guys, if you go to Birmingham, let me leave Birmingham alone. If you go to Hoover, and let's say code enforcement was riding around and you had a dumpster out there and you was doing work, I guarantee that neighbor, when they call the building department, they're going and let's just say, for instance, you was let me find one of these right here. Sidewalks, driveway. Let's say you was painting, you was tiling, you was putting carpet in, and you put some countertops in, and you doing some finished work in your house. Y'all see that? That's number 7 right here. You guys see that? That's number 7 right there. It's number 7 right here. Let's say you was doing this right. I Can't make that highlighted. Oh, it won't let you highlight these, by the way, guys. So you can't copy them. Let's say I was doing number 7. I was painting, I was tiling, carpeting, cabinets, and doing all that stuff, which is really finished stuff. It ain't got nothing to do with the structure of the house, right? And I had a big dumpster outside. Code enforcement in Hoover pulls up, see the dumpster out there. The homeowner saw the dumpster out there, called code enforcement. They pull up. Code enforcement at Hoover is probably going to come to the homeowner and say, you need to pull a permit. And all I got to do is go to this portion of the code. Well, this is all I'm doing right here, sir. I don't need to pull a permit. These are the things that's exempt from pulling a permit. And they will argue you all day long, man. Matter of fact, they'll probably make you go ahead and pull a permit just for the heck of it. And you're going to spend $400-500 just for the heck of it. But if you're a person like me, no, I'm not going to do it. Here it is right here. And I'll take this right here all the way to the mayor if need be. But typically, if you show that to the building official, he gonna back up off you. They do this all day in Birmingham, man. I know. And I'm telling you somewhere else that's just a whole nother ballgame. When I was talking about I was the sheriff of this town, there's one guy in this area that he really thinks he's the sheriff. And that's Centerpoint. Guys, the building official in Centerpoint, he does not operate like anybody probably in Alabama. He's the sheriff and he do what he want to do. I fought them. We were going to sue them one time, but the builders, we ain't got time for that, man. I would just rather finish this thing on or do what they ask me to do and leave and never go back. So keep that in mind, man. So this is another item that it does too. And it goes over electrical stuff too, man. Some of the, like electrical repairs and stuff like that. You don't have to get a permit for that. Gas, portable heaters, things like that. So you guys keep in mind, this is some good work exempt from permits. You read through this whole thing, and there should be no question about people coming to me saying, do I need to pull a permit for this right here? What, man, it's in the code book. Okay. Also, emergency repair. Let me see. Now, emergency repair, you don't have to pull a permit. Well, and I'm not even looking at this right here. I'm not going to read, but this is what I guess it's going to say because I've been doing this so long. I feel like this is what it's going to say. If you're on the weekend or something like that, and you got an emergency repair, you need to come pull a permit on the next building day. Or the next open day. So let's read. Let me see what it's saying. Let me see how good I am, guy. I could be messed up. All right. Where equipment replacement and repairs must be performed in emergency situation, the permit shall be submitted within the next working business day to the building official. Man, I'm good. That's just fair, guys. It's fair. Public service. Let me see what else. Time and limitation of applications, validation. Validity. Let me see what else we got in this right here chapter. Floor and roof design. Are there any questions, guys? I'm just trying to see is the designation professional and responsible design professional and responsible charge. Now let's talk about this right here just for a second. The building official is going to require this right here too, guys. So if something needs to be turned in like a plan design, you need to have, in some cases, you need to have a professional that like an architect or engineer who has went to school for this right here and has a stamp. Some of these things need to be stamped by them. Okay. Before you turn it in to me. I may tell you, hey man, you get that thing stamped by an engineer. I just want the engineer to sign it. And then that becomes their code. That becomes their code. Okay. So what else we got? Temporary structures. All right. So at the end of the day, when you get finished building that structure, guys, when everything is complete, you get what they call a certificate of occupancy. Okay. Guys, if you ever build guys, the same thing works for commercial too, guys. So I'm just doing the residential because I'm familiar with that, but the commercial is the same thing. But you get a certificate of occupancy or a certificate of completion. That certificate of occupancy means that somebody can occupy that structure. And now I won't get that certificate of occupancy. Like guys, as a builder, if you guys become builders, do not get that certificate of occupancy until you're paid in full. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you're not paid, and number one, the banks are gonna want that certificate of occupancy before they issue that last draw, right? Before they fund that project. A lien waiver and a certificate of occupancy, a mortgage company, whoever you got your loan with. But guys, if you have a certificate of occupancy, they can move in and they can say, we'll pay you later. But if they don't have a certificate or a CO, if they don't have that CO, you know what I can do? I can call the fire department and say they're occupying that structure illegally. And you know what's gonna happen? Y'all remember I'm the sheriff of this here town? They're gonna come in and tell them they gotta go. I can do an anonymous tip. Hey, man, they ain't got no CO on that structure right there. Anonymous, guys. Anonymous. Oh, you guys call it snitching. I forgot. I call it snitching. Yeah. Carney, if somebody owe you $50,000 and didn't pay you, what are you gonna do? Yeah, you're gonna do that. Not you're gonna be a snitch. When you do it, you do it too when you're nil. I would. I mean, I done done it. I stitch on them in a heartbeat. Yeah, man, they over there, man, and they out there slapping folks and everything. Let me cut that out, man. I'm just joking, guys. Yeah, but hey, this is part of the game, guys. You can also do what they call a temporary occupancy too, man. Sometimes people got to move in because the kids are in school and stuff like that. So sometimes I had to do a temporary certificate of occupancy. But the problem is, once they actually get in that house, it's hard to kick them out, man. I mean, it's really hard, man. You don't want to get into all that other stuff, man, trying to kick them out of that house. Let me see, means of appeals, you got those two violations. So you go through all the violations of it, stop work order. You can see that a lot too, guys. Sometimes I have to code enforcement riding out there. They see a dumpster out there. First thing they're gonna do, and they ain't got no building permit because the building permit is supposed to be put somewhere visible at the road. And if you don't see a building permit there, then we're gonna issue a stop work order. Code enforcement is gonna do that. And I'm gonna call code enforcement. Hey man, got this over here. Issue stop work order on. Sign it. Don't work no more. And if they continue to work, guess what we can do? We can put them in jail. Crazy thing, man. My banker, the guy that bank, one of my bankers. And guys, let me tell you something about banks, man. When you guys, usually your bankers, like guys that you deal with at the banks, man, they kind of jump from bank to bank. Follow the person, follow the relationship instead of the bank. Does that make sense? I probably had one time I had a bank with I had an account with just about every bank in this area, man, because my bankers were moving from bank to bank. But my banker was in Alabaster. At one point in time, he was a builder, and he was a builder in Alabaster. After I was fired from the building official, he was actually finishing a house in Alabaster. The guy that I use right now, and they put him in jail. Man, we talk about that today, man. It was like, I was like, hey, man, if I was there, I wouldn't let that happen to you. They put him in jail, man. It's some kind of fire ordinance, man. But they told him. He didn't, he didn't let up. So if you get a stop work order, man, that's just what it means. Stop work order. And that means you need to go sit down and talk to the building official. Y'all need to figure this out. Building official or code enforcement. You need to figure that out. You guys at home got any questions, man? I know I'm just going on and going on and on. Everybody good? All right, let's keep this party going. Let me see. Unsafe structures. Now this right here, I used to do this right here. This is called abatement board. So if there's an unsafe structure, if y'all know these old houses, the land bank, all these old dilapidated houses, they become unsafe if you can get in them. So in order to make them safe, like when I was on the abatement board, the people that come in who own the house, and I said, look, man, you got to make this thing safe. So what you can do to make it safe is you can board up all the doors. The city's not going to do it. You got to do it. You can board up all the doors, keep people from getting in there. Keep vagrants and all that kind of stuff, squatters and stuff like that. Keep them from getting in it, right? So then you can make it. It can become safe now. And but yeah. So, or if I keep going to you and you can't make it safe, people keep getting in it, we can order to have it torn down, taken on down, and we take that money that it costs to tear it down, and we attach it to the property. Yeah, that's a lien on that property. That's right. And then, so when somebody come back, if a homeowner come back to redeem it, they got to pay that. They got to pay for that demolition. You know, maybe $6,000-7,000 plus whatever they owe on the property. Yeah. Questions on that?
What's the thing when you talking about Birmingham?
I'm gonna leave Birmingham alone. I'm picking at Birmingham too much.
Enforcement in terms of the numbers, sheer number of how many homes that you have that are in violation visually. You can see when you go to Birmingham, see house after house after house that's in violation. They don't have, first of all, the windows not boarded up. That's a violation.
Mm-hmm.
But then in terms of enforcement, rather than try to enforce them by finding the homes, Birmingham is just basically overwhelmed by the frequency of it all, not in any enforcement. So that way you see thousands of houses without windows. That's the first thing you know. Yeah.
Well, the biggest problem in Birmingham, unlike most municipalities around here, we got the oldest houses for the most part. But the problem with Birmingham, if you actually go in and try to abate all of those properties, that's costing a lot of taxpayers money. That's a lot of money they would spend trying to tear those things down. Now, I agree. Now, when I was in Alabaster, I had a whole group of them. I was one of the first ones to start tearing them down. I was hitting them one by one. Boop, boop, boop. I was tearing them down. And over there where they doing that new shopping thing over there in Alabaster, I was one of the ones, I started that. I started tearing all of them down. But Birmingham got to have somebody that's progressive like that sees a vision, but it doesn't cost the taxpayers too much. You see what I'm saying? They just got to, they really just got to get some people in there, man, that's very progressive, which I think they're doing now, man. I think some of those council members that again now, I think it's starting to change a little bit. It's not about a white or black thing. It's just about, you got to be innovative, man. You just can't be somewhere just because you got a job and you just here working, man, getting your paycheck. I'm just waiting on my paycheck. Oh, man, you got to be innovative, man. You got to be thinking, what can I do to make this city better? What can I do to get us to the next level? I mean, out in California right now, man, they're doing these things called smart cities. This is what's coming. And when they do the smart cities, you got the wealthy and the upper middle class. They're going to be the one, they're going to separate. I don't know if you guys seen this movie called Elysium. What is it? Elysium, where the rich people moved to outer space and they were in paradise, man. They never got sick and stuff like that. They had machines that could make them back to normal again. And then they just left everybody on Earth fighting over the scraps. This is where we're going. Separate. That's why I tell you, you gotta get your money right, man. So you can be, look, man, don't get mad at people. Get your money right so you can be up here with the rich. Just go on do it. Hey, man, you can do it. You gotta keep going at it, man. But this is what's happening, man. And this is what you got. Like Birmingham, man, you know, they separate. You got man, those guys going to the next level. Look at what they're doing over in Homewood right now. Mark Martin at Build. You guys heard of Build Up? Yeah, I got Lawson set up at Build Up. So we actually we can actually teach courses at Build Up at their site. Mark Martin he founded Build Up. You know what this guy's doing? He's going to Homewood. You know, Homewood is landlocked, but they got a lot of money in Homewood. They landlocked, so and the lots are really small, and they got these little old bitty small houses just like Birmingham. But you know what they're doing over there? Over in Homewood, they would the owners would donate the houses to Mark Martin. The house itself, not the land, because see, they want a bigger house. They don't want them little bitty small house like they had, like with the land bank and all those little small houses, right? So the owners would donate, they get a tax write-off. Boom. $200,000 tax write-off. They donated to him for his school build up, which is what he created. He would take that house and, you know, and relocate that house. You can move the house. You get the beams and stuff, just like I did when I showed you guys where I dropped that house in. He'll relocate the house to Birmingham. And he'll move it to Birmingham, right over here in Smithfield. Yeah. So he'll relocate the house there, turn around and sell it for about $200,000. Didn't pay not one dime for the house. He got the land probably through land bank. You with me on that? Then then those people over here in Homewood build a mansion right there that goes straight up instead of that little house. They build $1 million home right there in that little lot. They're separated. And then their kids get to go to Homewood. Homewood right now, per child, the state is spending about $6,000 per child. That's the highest in the state of Alabama. They're separating, guys. They're separating. Be part of the clan. I don't want to sit here and just complain, man, they do right here. No, I'm going to be up there with y'all. All right, any questions, man? Man, you guys are going to think I'm just wicked, man. All right, so that's the chapter 1, guys. That's the scope and administration. Questions on that? Anybody at home? You guys good? You guys good. All right. Let's go. Chapter 2. Now, this is going to be an easy one right here, guys. Chapter 2, it's going to be definitions. So if I go right here, boom, and I hit chapter 2, this is, let me see, chapter, yeah, there we go. So we're going to break that whole thing down. This right here is chapter 2 right here. So we got chapter 2. Chapter 2 is just going to, see, if you guys don't know the terminology of construction, well, you ain't got no problem. Boom, you hit chapter 2. There you go. We got the definitions. All the definitions. So, guys, and this is another thing. If you guys take the test, go to chapter 2. If they ask you a definition, you didn't see that on there?
None of that.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Was it hard, man?
It was hard.
Man, hey, don't scare these folks, man. Don't scare me. Yeah, it was all right.
Like you said, it's scary, I've not been through this.
Yeah.
You say it all the time, man.
Yeah, it was yeah, but you passed it though, man. You did it. And that's what's more important. All right, but this right here goes over all the definitions, guys. All the definitions. You can, any definition about construction and stuff like that, you got it right here. There should be no now some definitions you may not see. But most of the terminology and definitions in this building code book is here. Questions on that? That wasn't bad. Definition. All right. So pop this down. Boom.
Could you just give one just an example?
All right, let's say habitable space. Habitable space. I don't know if it's in here, but I think it's in here, man, because I think I saw it in the code somewhere. That's H. That's an H, right? A, B, C, D. And I had to say my ABCs again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm singing that thing, man. Wait a second. H, I, so it should be back here. So H. There we go. Habitable space. Habitable space is a space in a building for living, sleeping, eating, or cooking. Bathrooms, toilet rooms, closet, halls, storage, or utility spaces in similar areas are not considered habitable space. Sometimes you can get into it with a building official or a code guy, and y'all can get into this dispute on what's a habitable space and what's not. Okay, well, it just tells you right there. Does that make sense? So that's how you kind of look these things up, man. And handrails, handrail, horizontal and sloping rails intended for grasping by the hand or guidance or support. So that's how that works, guys. It's in alphabetical order. Okay. Let's do this last chapter and we'll call it a day. I can go home and eat some chicken. What I had to eat today? Oh yeah, I had gumbo today, man. Lawson, man, if you guys ever go over to the Birmingham campus, that cafeteria, they have some good food over there sometimes. That'd be good.
Yeah, okay.
Shoot, yeah. Shoot, yeah, you gotta pay, man. Ain't nothing free nowadays, man. Well, well, let me not get into that, man. I'm finna go on a tangent. Yeah. It is expensive too. I think I paid $12 for that stuff. But it was all right though, man. They have some pretty good food. All right, guys. No, that's not. No, that's not what I wanted. It's supposed to be planning. Chapter 3. Maybe they changed the books, man. Let me see. Hold up. No, they hadn't. This right here is supposed to be building planning. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it is building planning. Let me see. We go all the way. Let me get out of this right here first. Oh, no, that's not what it is. No, I'm on the International Building Codes. I need to be in the International Residential Code. IRC. What, 2021? Yeah, there we go. Oh, shucks. Give me just a second, guy. There we go. All right, here we go. All right. So chapter 3, now in the IRC, is a little different than the IBC. So in the IRC, and we're going to go over the IBC. This is the International Residential Code. So chapter 3 is going to be the planning portion. All right, guys. Before you build anything, you have to build it on paper first. As you remember that. You build it on paper first. So what that means is you got to plan this structure. You got to plan it. Everything needs to have a plan. You need to have a set of plan. And you need to plan everything first. And that's what this right here chapter is about. So if you go here, this right here is going to go into, let me see if I can hit. So we're going to hit right here. Let me just break this down right here. So there we go. Come on. There you go. So this right here, and notice also that it starts like with R301 or R30 something. That helps you find out where you at in the code book. Okay. So if it says R4 something, that means I'm in chapter 4. If you say R1203, that means I'm in chapter 12. Does that make sense? All right, so this right here, so this is the building planning. So building planning, chapter 3 contains a wide array of building planning requirements that are critical to designing a safe and usable building. This includes, but not limited to, requirements related to general structural design, fire-resistant construction, light ventilation, sanitation, plumbing, and all the other good stuff that we talked about, carbon monoxide, all that good stuff. Does that make sense? It also talks about applications and stuff like that, construction system, engineered design, where a building of otherwise conventional construction contains structural elements exceeding the limits of this section are otherwise not conforming to this code. So this right here is not in the code, right? These elements shall be designed in accordance with accepted engineering practices. That's going to pull your engineering in. The intent of such design need only demonstrate compliance of non-conventional elements with other applicable, I can't say that word, provisions, and shall be compatible with the performance of the conventional frame system. Engineered design in accordance with the International Building Code is permitted for buildings and structures and parts of thereof, including the scope of this code. So it talks about that, talks about climate. So it gives you your climate stuff. And I think this right here is the geographic design criteria. What is this right here? This is the weathering. I know this got to be the wind right here. So this is the speed of the wind. This is like the normal winds. But this right here, I think this right here is like the,
Yes, you.
no, this is like the how, hold on, let me, snow loads. That's what this is. Like up here is high in snow, moderate, and then probably not no snow at all down here. Okay, this is your wind speeds right here. Wind speed on the West Coast. These are wind speeds like in Alabama. I think we get up to what? Let me see that. Yeah, that's wind. What else we got here? It gives you all the maps and stuff like this right here. This right here it should be one on seismic, like the earthquakes and stuff like. Let me see if I can find the earthquakes. Yeah, this right here, seismic stuff right here. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, let me see. Here's the one is that Hawaii? There we go right there. It's California. We actually have earthquakes here in Alabama. Let me see. There we go. Right up here.
You do platform frame, right?
If I was going now, I still even in Alabama. Well, if I was right here, I would do balloon framing. Platform framing would be right here in this area right here. She don't have too much earthquake going on here. But up here, if I was right up here, yeah, man, I'm probably gonna do balloon framing or something like that, man, because it's gonna shake, man. I'd probably try to structure that thing for earthquakes. It looks like it's the not quite Mississippi. It looks like that's Tennessee. Tennessee, and what is that, Missouri? What state is this? Arkansas? Yeah. Tell you, I didn't go to geography class. All right, so that's what we got right there, guys. Let me see. It goes in all that, man. So this is so you can look at this right here and plan how you're gonna build that structure. So like we just looked at this right here and we saw that this is not really an earthquake place, so we're not gonna design it to deal with earthquakes. Does that make sense? That's that's chapter 3 now. So, and we're gonna be looking at egresses and all that kind of stuff. Let me see what else we got in here.
Do they have floodplains?
I think they do. Yeah. Actually, the floodplain is kept by the city's engineer. That's who's going to, and see, once again, we're going to talk about this next time we come in here, guys. Your plans are going to go to zoning first. The zone is going to send it to the engineer. The engineer is going to look at it and verify that you don't have any flood zone, that you're not in the flood zone. But even if it's in the flood zone, you just have to design it. Once again, you got to design it to be in that flood zone. Okay. And I don't know, like I said, that's going to be something that's a local. That flood zone is not probably going to be something that you find. I don't know if you find in the code, but it's going to be more of a local thing. I'm just trying to see if there's anything.
When you were talking to us about going down understood soil, it was already understood that this is not a floodplain that you were building on.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So we also like egress. What else we got here? This is a long little chapter right here. Carbon monoxide, all that kind of stuff. They're gonna phase all these addicts and stuff like. They're gonna phase all these gas powered cars out in the next couple of years. You guys are gonna be buying electric stuff. Oh, here we go. So this right here is this is like termite infestation. So it gives you that. Notice that in Alabama we high. That's why you guys always talking about termite bond. Got your termite bond? Oh yeah. Them termites will eat your house from the inside out, man. They would eat it. They would eat it up too, buddy. Especially if you got all that, you start dry rotting on the inside. Oh yeah, they love that. And roaches too, man. You guys ever had those? You guys got roaches at your house? Come on, man. Y'all got some roaches. Everybody done had some roaches in the house. You got some roaches, man? Huh?
Just sleep over.
Man, I had so many roaches one time, man. And man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. This is back when I was in college, man. I was in an apartment, man. There was so many roaches in there. I used to invite somebody, man. I used to open up the cabinet, they'd just be falling out the cabinets and stuff. And then I had my girlfriend came over at the time, man, and it was one right behind. I was like, God, man, that joke gonna come out as soon as she come over here. I bombed that house too, man. I bombed it, man. I set them bombs. I covered up all my food and stuff. I think I bombed the house. It got rid of all of them. And guys, the problem is not the big roaches. You get the big roaches, they all right. It's the little bitty German roaches that's the problem. And I used to eat at you guys ever had Magic City Grill? I shouldn't be talking about this, guys. Y'all ever had Magic City Grill?
Yeah.
I used to eat at Magic City Grill me and my Nigerian friend Blaji, we used to eat at Magic City Grill like every week, man. It was all you can eat. Buffet, man. I think they had it in Birmingham downtown. Until I saw a German cockroach. That was a wrap. It's a wrap. I couldn't eat that no more, man. Them things, if you see one, there's 1,000 behind the wall. Literally. If you see one out in the open in the wild, there's 1,000 behind the wall, man. And we used to live, I'm telling you, man, we grew up with them, man. Golly, I used to hate roaches, man. I used to come in, man, just sneak in the kitchen, just turn the lights on, they just scatter. Golly. I'm gonna tell you what to get rid of them. You gotta want to get rid of some roaches. I'm gonna give you all a secret. You go get some boric acid. Put that stuff down, man. They're gonna crawl through it and they're gonna take it back to the queen, whoever's in the, to kill all of them. I had a student one time. She was just sitting there. I said something about a roach in class. Man, she's like, we ain't got no roaches. Well, I'm just so scared of roaches. She opened up a notebook and a roach fell out. But that was crazy, man. Like, you got to be kidding me. You talking that junk about roaches and stuff. All right, guys, let me see. Stairway. So it goes into this right here goes into the design. So you really need to go through this right here before you start designing. This is what you want. You want to read. I know it's a lot, guys, but you want to read this right here before you, and then you have your designer to plan based on what you design. Okay. All right, guys. That's all I wanted to cover today. So, we're right here, chapter 3. So we got chapter 1. Remember, that's your scope and administration. That's what the building official and all the stuff that, code enforcement, stuff like that. Chapter 2 is going to be your definitions. And chapter 3 is going to be how you plan that building. You got maps and stuff, so you can plan that building to be the best building in that climate, in that area that you got it built in. Yeah. All right. Questions? You guys good? Hey guys, and like I said, guys, you guys watch that last video I did, man. Watch the whole video before you start getting mad. You guys have a good one.